What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to my channel. First of all, Happy New Year, everyone. Hopefully, 2020 brings a lot of good times and good spell slinging. I'm Rexor, if you're new to the channel. Today we are doing a commander tech, which I allow people to, submit a ton of lists, and I take a look at some of the really interesting ones and review them, just go over the deck lists, the card choices, and some of the play patterns. And yeah, just having fun talking about Commander. Our deck list submission today comes from a friend of the channel, PhilSchwifty, and that is Yarok the Desecrated. So this is the Commander. It is 2 black, green, and blue for a 3/5 legendary creature elemental horror with Death Touch and Lifelink. Not typically things that are going to come up because you're not going to want to be attacking with this, or really having it be involved in combat a lot, because it says if a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, oh my goodness, that ability it triggers an additional time. Basically, anytime something would enter and activate an ability, the ability happens twice. So very, very powerful effect, not just entering the, or not just doubling the triggers of creatures, but any permanent, any type of landfall effect, any type of, various enter the battlefield of any of your permanents. So can be a very powerful card. Just huge value. And Swifty sent in a very interesting list that I think is fairly different from others, which is why I was so interested in it. I feel like a lot of Yarok lists typically just kind of, just shove good stuff in their deck. And this has that, but it also has another element to it. Swifty has indicated that the list is semi-budget. It is, below, I'd say about $500. I say anything above $500, is definitely not budget. I say somewhere between $200 to $400 is, budget. That is somewhat budget. Again, that sounds very expensive, but that is Commander. Magic is an expensive hobby, so if that's not in your budget, I'm sure there are other budget decks. Just don't freak out. Um, don't freak out. Oh my God, $400. So yeah. So let's take a look. So first of all, at the bottom of the curve here, we have a few mana dorks, as we call them. We got Birds of Paradise, Elves of Deep Shadow, and Little Elves, as well as Deathrite Shaman. Deathrite Shaman, always a great include in any green-black deck. Just having 3 relevant abilities that all disrupt your opponent's graveyards can be quite a nuisance. And then we have some just 2-mana creatures that cantrip, Coiling Oracle, Elvish Visionary, and Fibblethib. That's a spicy one right there. Good old homunculus. And then in the 3 slots, we have some interesting choices here. We have Elvish Rejuvenator, Plaguecrafter, Reclamation Sage, which I think is obviously a great one. Reclamation Sage, seeing play in a lot of decks. And then Tireless Provisioner and Wood Elves. So Wood Elves and Elvish Rejuvenator seem great to me. The cards that seem questionable here are Plaguecrafter and Tireless Provisioner. So I get the thing with Tireless Provisioner of making treasures. I'm curious about the exclusion of Tireless Tracker, because Tireless Tracker gives you cards with the clues and can get large and in charge. So, I get that this produces extra mana. So I don't mind it. Like I definitely see that and I like it. I'm kind of confused why there's no Tireless Tracker. And as for Plaguecrafter, I just don't think you are going to play this on curve often, and it's going to just be kind of awkward. I guess you can sacrifice itself, but it's like how good is this repeatable, sacrifice effect? I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But that's this is where I'm just scrutinizing the choice of Plaguecrafter in this style of deck. But that's it for the 3 drops, and then we have a bunch of 4 and plus drops here. Again, this is a very creature value oriented deck. So we have Archaeomancer, which can get back a spell. Gonti, which steals a card. Hostage Taker, which also steals a card. Just in a different way. And then we have this Magus of the Order. So originally I was looking at this and seeing Magus of the Order and was like, okay, this is a budget card, as opposed to Natural Order. Um, this is essentially a natural order on a stick, but it's slower since you have to wait a turn, and Magus of the Order has to survive in order to really get the full benefit off of Magus of the Order. So, it's like, oh, this might just be a budget issue, but I later have seen that there are some tutoring effects as well as some reanimation effects. So the Magus of the Order does make sense. I think there is no natural order here, but I think if we're making this and we're not making it as budget, I would definitely put natural order in here because there's a lot of good targets to get. And I think it's only like $15, something like that. So like it is a lot to spend on cardboard, but I think it's worth it. But anyways, it's not in here just because of budget purposes. So Magus of the Order is fine; it'll do the job. We got Sadbot, Old Solemn Simulacrum. It's a classic. Sword of Temptations, which again, I'm always like really curious about these mind control effects on very susceptible bodies, but it might be fine. So we have Timeless Witness here, a play on Eternal Witness, and I think both because of Birthing Pod, which is in here, as well as some Eldritch Evolution stuff, they chose to omit Eternal Witness, as well as Timeless Witness can be eternalized and bought back from the graveyard, so those are all good value. We got Venser, we got Acidic Slime for some good disruption. We got Ashaya, which is a combo piece, as well as just ramp. And then we have Cavalier of Night and of Thorns, both to just good solid creatures, good bodies, and good enter the battlefield effects, as well as triggers when they die. This can buy back a creature with mana 3 or less, and this can just put some cards back into your library. Gray Merchant of Asphodel, I believe, is part of the win condition of the infinite combo that is in this deck. Otherwise, I think it's pretty lackluster. I'm wondering if there's a better alternative, but otherwise, Gary does the job. And Muldrifter, of course. And then here is, again, we've seen this in a variety of decks with the Peregrine Drake, just 5 mana, 2/3 flying, but we don't care about that. We care about the fact that it untaps 5 lands when it enters. So you can already kind of tell with Yarok that is going to produce 10 mana because you trigger, you have 2 triggers, and between the triggers, you float mana. This was a really cool one. I don't really know about these cards again. These are another one of those where specific cards, are seen in specific commander decks. So Phyrexian Delver is 5 mana for 3/2 that essentially reanimates a creature, and I mean literal reanimate. You resurrect a creature and then you lose life equal to its converted mana cost, which can be pretty damaging, but you have 40 life, as well as there are various ways to gain life, or maybe you're not grabbing your 8 drops, 7 and 8 drops down here. You're just grabbing 2 cheap cards. So I definitely think that this card is cool in this deck. Definitely like that. And then we got the combo piece, one of the main win conditions, Deadeye Navigator, which can combo very easily with Peregrine Drake and a whole bunch of other things in the deck. We have Massacre Worm, Noxious Gearhulk for removal, Woodland Bellower as a form of value, as well as it is just a good tutor, for your Provisioner, your Reclamation Sage. It's kind of just an extra copy of those cards, which is always nice. Redundancy is good. Diluvian Primordial. So and we've got just some nice value up at the top end here. Primordial, Runescar Demon, to grab a card, this to cast some spells, and then Endraise Forerunner to just kind of, if you flood the board, you have a backup plan of, you know, just smacking your opponents in the face. Imagine triggering this twice with Yarok on the field. That just seems crazy. So yeah, before we get into the spells here, let's talk about some of the creature combos. So yeah, as we said, the main one is Peregrine Drake and Deadeye Navigator, as we said, which will give you infinite mana, as well as the same can be done with Yarok, Venser, which is here, and Peregrine Drake. So Peregrine Drake will produce 10 mana. The Venser will enter, bounce Peregrine Drake, and Venser itself, it can bounce itself. So that whole interaction costs 9 mana, and now you have net 1 mana in the process. Or netted? I don't know. You've added 1 mana in the process, and you can keep doing that. The other way that this deck can, go, kind of infinite is with the Shaya. With a Shaya plus, the Drake and the Deadeye Navigator, the Retreat to Hagra is, I asked about this card because I was like, hey, this looks really weird in this deck. Yeah, it triggers twice, but double drain or plus 1/+0 and death touch twice doesn't seem particularly good. That is what that's for. It's with the Shaya. So Shaya both makes mana, and then if you end up going off Retreat Tagra, will finish off your opponents. But in the meantime, this is just kind of fine, where if you have Yarok and Retreat, you play a land and you drain everyone for 2, which, it sounds like not a lot, but can definitely add up over time. So especially when Yarok is also doubling things like Elvish Rejuvenator or Wood Elves. So those are pretty cool stuff as well. So let's talk about some of the spells here. We got Nature's Claim for enchantment removal, Worldly Tutor for obvious reasons, Counterspell as a little bit of interaction, some ramp, some more counterspells, Reality Shift for interaction. Rushed Rebirth was an interesting one where either your opponent interacts or maybe this could be used for Playcrafter, but just something to tutor up. If you have a Runescar Demon and it dies, you can just get one of your combo pieces, Deadeye Navigator or Peregrine Drake or anything like that, pretty easily from your deck, and that's pretty nice. We've got 2, from what I've seen, ways to use the infinite mana in the spell slot here. We have Torment of Hailfire, which should just kill everybody. And then Villainous Wealth, which is a fun one that you can use to cast your opponent's basically entire library. And that should be pretty fun. And these cards also are just good cards themselves that are good to cast when you have lots and lots of mana. We've got some more removals, more ramp. Again, we've talked about Eldritch Evolution. Ghostly Flicker is also a good combo with Archaeomancer to just, get endless, it's not infinite. It's just a big lock where you can Archaeomancer, and Ghostly Flicker plus, repeat another Enter the Battlefield trigger. But if you do have the infinite with Deadeye Navigator and Peregrine Drake, and you have Archaeomancer, you could, infinitely cast, some, spell from your graveyard, whether it's Shared Summons, Beast Within, Torment of Hailfire, something so that you can just kill your opponents right then and there. And then the interesting one, which I thought was, just kind of funny, was Croaking Counterpart to play on Crackling Counterpart. Which just makes a copy, and again, this is good when we have specific enter the battlefield triggers that we're trying to do. I think that's pretty funny. This is kind of a fun of. I don't think this. I would actually put this in the a real try hard version of this deck, but it is still pretty funny. And I don't think it's bad. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's bad, but yeah, I'm not even sure what I would put in its place. So I don't know what I'm talking. We got a little bit of reanimation with Victimize. Yeah, so yeah, cool stuff. You could do cool stuff with Victimize again with Archaeomancer, so that's kind of cool stuff. In the artifact slots and enchantments, we got Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. These are all pretty standard. Golgari Signet. We are not including the what are we missing here? We're missing the Simic Signet. No, we're missing the Demir Signet. We're missing the Demir Signet, and we're missing the other two talismans. And that might just be because they don't want a lot of artifact mana. They'd rather have land mana, and that kind of makes sense. Interesting. I think it's just I'm not interested just for the choices. I think it's just the way the deck works. I'm not looking at any color analytics or anything like that. So and then we have some cool ones here. We got Birthing Pod, which is just insane. We know this. We've got Sword of Hearth and Home, which gives protection from green and white, and then if it deals combat damage, excuse me, if the encrypted creature deals combat damage, you basically get to flicker a creature and then get a basic land from your library. I didn't realize this was basic land. This seems pretty bad. Are you able to? It's up to one current creature, then search your library for a basic land. So you don't have to get the land to flicker your creature, but also I think this is pretty lackluster. Yeah, I don't know. It's like probably fine because there's a lot of ETBs, but I'm just not sure what else I would. Yeah, I don't know what else I would put either. So yeah, it's fine. And then we've got some enchantments here that supply some card advantage. We've got Sylvan Library and Growing Rights, which can also turn into a lot of mana. And then there's Wild Pair, which says if you cast it from your hand, you search your library for a creature with the same total power and toughness and put it onto the battlefield. So this is an expensive enchantment, but if you actually resolve it and trigger it, it should easily be able to go off because it's with the same total power and toughness and put it onto the battlefield. So if you do, let's say we do like I guess a Shia wouldn't really work. But if you had something like this is 4, so we need something like how do we get our combo pieces with this? So I guess like Gonti can get Paragon Drake. Yeah, so stuff that adds up to 5 can get Paragon Drake. Not a lot of stuff. This can get Paragon Drake, okay. Playcrafter can get Paragon Drake. This can get Deadeye Navigator. So like, I'm actually not too sold on this. Like, I don't know what else it gets, but it seems pretty clunky. But I could be wrong. And then for the land base here, and I'm already going to say this, the land base is pretty lackluster. That's just because, again, it is a reminder, is a semi-budget deck, so there's not going to be fetch lands and stuff in here. The one thing I will say is the first thing I saw was this Aether Hub that seems really bad. There's no energy stuff in here. This is just a land. I think it should be something else. What exactly it is, I don't know. Don't exactly care, but I don't think it's Aether Hub. As for everything else, there is Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, a bunch of dual lands, Opulent Palace. Nothing crazy here. I do think there should be Bajuka Bog. I feel like Bajuka Bog is an easy include. That's not expensive. So, yeah, so that is all of the stuff that I really noted from the list. I think this list is I want to say I don't want to say it's weakened because it's semi-budget. And I also just think it's just missing some things. Again, as I mentioned, Bajuka Bog. If it were me, like even if I was making this budget, I would just put like some kind of natural order or I guess it doesn't have to be natural order, but also Fauna Shaman. Fauna Shaman is another card that I think should be in the list, because it lets you tutor for your creature cards. Um, but aside from that, even though it is a budget list, it's very cohesive. There are a couple cards in here. Sorry, even though there are a couple cards in here that are, maybe a little, I don't want to say silly, but maybe a little bit more casual. Croakling Counterpart, um, this Diluvian Primordial, some things like that. The deck is very cohesive. Like, it's definitely built well. You could say, Magus of the Order is kind of in that category. Shared Summon seems like very slow, but still good. Yeah, the deck is like just very cohesive. All the cards work well together. It was definitely built very methodically. So that's always good to see. And I like that, one of the things with putting infinite combos in your deck in Commander is it's either like that's all your deck does, and you just kind of gotta, that's all you do, and that's how you win the game. And that's not fun for some people. And then when you do that, it's like either if your deck isn't doing that, your deck's not good. And so then if you're playing with people who don't want you to instantly combo, you might you might lose some buds, you might lose some friends. No, but in all seriousness, I do like that the deck has a combo game plan, like it's trying to find those things, but then it can also just play a fair game plan. And in those ways, like, even Peregrine Drake, which we've typically seen as a combo card, produces 10 mana. It's 5 mana, make 10 mana. That seems pretty good to me. I would play that card. And like same thing with Deadeye Navigator, can, just, flicker stuff. Flickering Runescar Demon, just getting demonic tutor every turn. Or for 2 mana, just at will. All these just kind of crazy, value stuff, that will still be able to win you games, pretty decisively, but is not like a combo. So I like that aspect. I think if you are trying to, build a really strong deck, but also, maybe don't want to, build a degenerate combo deck, this might be a good plan for you, because I feel like you can play this deck at various skill levels or various competitive levels, right? You can play this at a higher level, with people who are maybe playing lots of infinite combos, and this can definitely compete at the table. And you can also play this with a bunch of casuals, and just not combo, and your deck will still feel powerful and still be able to participate in the game. So I really like that aspect, and so because of that, I'm gonna give it I don't know if maybe I should do grades. Well, if this is a grade, this is a 9 out of 10. I want to say 8.5, 9 out of 10, something like that. So yeah, great job on the deck, Schwifty. And yeah, that's gonna do it for the video. If you guys have some commander decks that you guys are working on, or really want to show somebody, show the world that you're really proud of, feel free to send me them. You can either just put them in the comments, or you can join my Discord, where you can chat with me and a bunch of my buds, and send me those there as well. All right, everyone, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, remember, leave a like, and I'll see you guys for the next one.